I love fight scenes, specifically hand-to-hand fights where their bodies are their weapons of choice. I've always wanted to do a proper fight scene. I've done some fight scenes in the past, but those were in the past. It's been years since then. I haven't done nearly enough. So why not make a new fight scene from scratch in just 1 week? Welcome to 15 over 15, the series where me, along with my collaborator Sharp, engage in stunts of cinematic arrogance that we may not live to regret. Let's get in a call with Sharp and let's plan this fight scene.
Once again, we return. Are you ready to do this shit again? For the 10th time?
Double digits.
We are in the double digits.
Finish one short and you have to start over again. It's
Sisyphean.
One must imagine whatever the quote is. Hit the button.
Number 6. Action!
I'll take it.
Hell yeah! We're doing action. We're doing action. What is your choice for medium?
I think I'll go for stick fight.
Let's do it. Let's get it over with. Pre-production. Let's go.
2 ideas for how to play it out. Both very similar. One requires just a tiny bit more setup. First idea that requires more setup would be like we see a kid, two shots to establish that a kid's drawing in like a notebook or something.
In like class or something?
I was thinking class at one point, but I'm thinking it would just be like a little kid drawing on the floor, just so we don't have to draw desks and stuff.
Oh, that could be nice.
The other idea would just be we get rid of the kid aspect and we just start within the stick figure world, and like one stick figure is doing something, either like, I don't know, playing a video game, reading a newspaper, just something very like, and then another one just walks in very calmly, looks for a second, and like smacks whatever he's doing is out of his hand, and then it just escalates very quickly.
Feels like those chicken fights in Family Guy.
I'm sorry, this is expired.
You shut up!
Yeah, basically.
Do you have any ideas for like the actual fight? Like, how do we want to play it? Do they have like distinct abilities, or?
Yeah, so I want to at least come up with like a few beats we could hit. That I haven't, there's only one beat in particular I've thought of. So near the end, I know I want it to start off with sort of like the classic stick figure orthographic side fight. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But then like at some point during the escalation, I want it to like be more cinematic. So we have, Z depth. One can be closer to camera than the other, stuff like that.
Something we could do for like the switch from orthographic to cinematic could be like maybe they have a few exchanges, a few like attacks thrown. One of them disappears from screen, like they I don't know, maybe get off of screen somehow between cuts. Something happens where they're off screen. And the other one is looking around for them, like does a head turn, and then the one that disappeared like comes in from camera perspective and punches the other guy.
I like that. I think it's like a clever way to introduce depth.
We have beats that we need to hit. It's all that really needs to happen.
Yeah.
Hopefully this works out. My only real worry is that it gets hazy in production, but if we can make it work, it'll be cool.
Probably later tonight, after I finish my math homework, I want to do at least some thumbnails to figure out like what camera direction we're going for continuity.
Yeah, that'll be
or like what screen direction.
It is weird seeing that we have fewer films to do than we have done.
This week, we're doing things quite differently. What usually happens is every shot is planned out in advance with our thumbnail animatic. Since each shot, its camera movement, and its composition are all already decided, all we have to do is focus on animation for the most part. What we're doing this time is having beats to hit. In other words, all the info we have is on specific moments instead of every moment. And the idea here is that Sharp and I can animate whatever we want so long as it bridges the gap between those beats. For example, beat number 1 can start with a character standing there and end when he gets punched. Beat 2 can start with that same character dead in a ditch. so we know how beat 1 ends and how beat 2 starts. Anything can happen between those 2 beats so long as it starts with the punch and ends with being in a ditch. It felt like we were in for a messy ride with very little planned out, but once we were in it, things were actually pretty smooth sailing. The big inspiration for this was obviously stick fights, which will of course include the awesome stuff you see on the Alan Becker channel, but I was more so inspired by the older stick fights you'd find on the internet that were animated in Flash. While we didn't animate in Flash, we tried to take inspiration from Flash by using gradients for the background and ground plane. Since we had a moving camera, I felt gradients didn't give enough visual information. If the camera was moving sideways and the character was too, we wouldn't see the background really move. So I added a texture to the background so we see the camera movement easier. Something that I think that's neat is that there's a hidden cut where it was Sharp's animation and then it becomes my animation. Since the cut was happening on the action and was supported by a big camera shake, I feel it's pretty well hidden. The big giveaway is that the textured background suddenly changes if you go through it frame by frame. One of the many things that got me interested in animation was Naruto, especially his fight with Sasuke in the Final Valley. So, as an homage to that fight, I wanted to include the iconic combo that Naruto lands on Sasuke. I originally wanted to animate it myself, but I was busy animating another section, and we were approaching our deadline. So Sharp took care of it. And honestly, I'm glad that he did, because he did that moment so much more justice than I could have. And since we're referencing things just for giggles, I made the blue guy hit the Yamcha pose when he hits the ground at Mach kill you speed. Serves him right for slapping the ball. Something that I've been meaning to try out for a long time, but never found the time to do until doing this project, was animating action to sound effects. So what I did for one section was record my voice doing the hit sounds and then using the timing from that for my animation. While it may seem a bit cringe, I feel like that helped me in getting a rhythm in my animation. And I felt like with Sharp's shot coming right after, we get a nice contrast. I went for big swooping, whereas Sharp's action was a lot of quick darts, so do. And I feel like those two moments contrast each other quite nicely. With the animation done, I just needed music. Instead of getting this one composed by Luxia, I felt it was important to use the blatantly copyrighted music to stay true to what was inspiring this short. A lot of old stick fight animations use copyrighted music, and so it only felt right that I do the same. There were a couple of songs I was trying out. The One Punch Man opening, Undefeatable from Sonic Frontiers, A Real Life by Greek Fire, a song that was used for an amazing stick fight animation by Gildagai, Linkin Park songs, but ultimately it came down to 2 songs by Mindless Self-Indulgence, Lights Out and Shut Me Up. Lights Out would have been great because it's literally saying punch your lights out, but Sharp edited Shut Me Up to sync up with the animation, and I was sold. Directing something and have it go smoothly with little to no problems is an awesome thing on its own. But that's not where the story ends. No, not at all. If you've been following this channel, you'll know that I animate across different mediums. Namely, I do both 2D and 3D animation. And so while I was working on new animations for my 3D animation reel, I decided to try and adapt part of the fight scene into 3D. I was doing this for the one class I took at Animation Mentor, studying under Rich F, who was really kind enough to let me try and animate a challenging sequence for his class. When the animation was completed and I was done with Animation Mentor, I was surprised to find out months later that I actually made it into Animation Mentor's student showcase. My work was deemed good enough to show off. That felt amazing, but it doesn't stop there. No. I work for a company called Glitch Productions. During my interview with them, the lead animator, Kevin Temmer, said he thought my fight scene on my demo reel was impressive. I also got to talk a bit about 15/15 as a whole in that interview. You should watch the 15/15 bonus episode if you want to hear more about that. So that's it then. Film's done, we had no problem getting it done. And this stick fight, through a chain of events, helped me get my first job in the industry. This was a good week, but hey, those are just my thoughts. I wonder how Sharp thinks this week went.
Another one.
Save the future. Save 15 over 15.